Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It's Natalie, it's Hotshot Adventures. Welcome back, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I get asked a lot about load boards, and so I thought I'll just let you guys know. So we'll just do a video about it. So, load boards, right? When you're new, you don't have direct customers. When you're new, you probably more than likely are going to be relying upon some load boards in order to find your first loads and get yourself out there, get your name out there, get your company out there, start being known in the areas that you choose or want to run in. So today we're going to go over the load boards that I use, and I'm also going to talk about loads that never make it to the load board, and I'm also going to talk about dispatch services. So first and foremost, you guys know I haul both cars and freight. So I use both car load boards and freight load boards. And what I use for cars primarily, I use a load board called Superdispatch. It does cost $119 or $120 per month, but that is probably the biggest load board for cars out there right now, and shows you a lot of other things other than cars. There's also some heavy equipment there. There's trailers. There's power only sometimes. There's all kinds of load boards. It's probably the #1 biggest load board when it comes to vehicles out there, which is Superdispatch. Another one that I use is Superdispatch. Superdispatch probably doesn't have the amount of cars, but it is a very good load board and it is free of charge. So Superdispatch, you guys download the app. It's very user friendly, and there's a lot of other great aspects about it. I won't get into it, but download it if you're interested, if you haul cars. Another one that I use is Run Buggy. Run Buggy's pretty decent on the rates. And another one that I've used somewhat is also Ship.Cars. There are a ton of vehicle only, car only brokers that are really trying to get away from Superdispatch. I don't know if they also get charged to utilize Superdispatch, but I know for me, coming from a carrier aspect or point of view, $120 is kind of like a lot of money, especially when there's other ones that are out there that are free. So a lot of these big car brokers are starting to create their own load boards. One of them, like I said, was Run Buggy. Another one is Ship.Cars. Superdispatch is a load board, but it's also a load tracking app, which is very, very helpful. Now, when we talk about hauling freight, right? I am versatile. I haul both cars and freight. When we talk about freight, the two biggest load boards out there right now are DAT and Truck Stop. I have both of those right now, and they are very expensive. There are different tiers to both of those. Freight boards, but I have the top tier in both of those, and DAT cost me, I think, $170 a month, and Truck Stop cost me $150 a month. So it can get quite pricey when you add up $170 and then $150 and then $120 for Superdispatch. I'm paying a lot of money for load boards. What I pay in load boards, I tend to save in a dispatch service, but it's one of those things. You got to pick your poison. You're either going to pay a dispatch service, a percentage, or a flat rate, hopefully a percentage. We'll get into that in a minute. Or you're going to pay for your own subscriptions to load boards. Those are basically your two options, really. You're going to do it yourself, or you're going to outsource and hire a dispatch service to fill your trailer for you. Now, when we talk about load boards, okay, load boards are going to give you can search, right? You can search on a load board for loads, but all of those loads are the loads that have not already been covered through somebody else. So a lot of companies have carriers that they utilize first, and maybe say, company A has 5 carriers that they'll call in order to cover their loads when they have something that needs to be shipped. Well, when those 5 carriers are not available, then they'll reach out, to a broker, or if they are their own broker, they will post a load on the load board. So when you think about that, and it's very, very, very common, what you see on the load boards is whatever is left over, okay? You guys know me, I talk a lot about direct customers. I have established my business to incorporate some direct customers that contact me directly in order to ship their freight or cars. I really, really like that because number one, it keeps me off of the load board. Number two, I get to negotiate with my direct customer a rate that I deem is reasonable and fair. Number three, I usually get paid faster than a broker will pay me. A broker, you guys know, I don't factor. A broker normally pays net 30 days, check in the mail, right? That's for free. So since I don't factor, I really liked the thought of being able to find direct customers, because normally, you know, businesses cut checks every Friday, or they cut checks, you know, twice a month, you know, so I'm getting paid every 2 weeks for that customer rather than waiting 30 days and then up to another week for a check to come in the mail. So when you think about load boards, they're good, right? But utilize them to your advantage and really try and establish your business and let people know that you're out there by doing some type of, you know, whether you go after social media, whether you go door to door in your truck on a day off, you know, and try to drum up some business directly from the customer, between you and your customer, because that's where you're going to see more reasonable rates. That's where you're going to see rates that are a little bit more fair to the carrier, as well as more fair to the customer. If the customer doesn't have to pay a broker, then great. They're saving money and you're probably, you know, getting a little bit more than what a broker would offer. So that's kind of how I feel about load boards. You guys use them to get you through as you're new, and then try your best to build your customer base, because load boards are not only expensive, but they're not necessary. You can still find business and you can still run your business without them. And I am some proof of that. Now let's move on to dispatch services, right? I did a video on it some months ago, you guys. And I was telling you guys how frustrated I was at getting all these calls and text messages. Like, I'm telling you, they have no respect for the day, the time of day, or the day. You know, I was getting text messages all the time. Do you need a dispatcher? I, you know, dispatch cars and freight, or I'm a car dispatcher. Do you need help? Press 1 for yes or 2 for no, or, you know, like all these text messages. I'm like, geez, where is this coming from? And it was not just Central Dispatch. A lot of it, I have found, is also coming from just public knowledge and people, dispatch services, just searching from the FMCSA, you know, website. So just, you know, texting and emailing and calling people out of the blue, just cold calling people to try and drum up business. And, you know, it is what it is. Everybody's trying to, you know, make some money here. And I understand that, but I will tell you guys my viewpoint on a dispatch service. And a lot of my guys on Patreon, this is all, you know, old news, because I tell pretty much everybody on my Patreon, I talk to them about all of this stuff that we're now kind of covering on YouTube. So a dispatch service, in my opinion, should not just be somebody that is saving you time to search on the load board. It is very nice, right? If you don't have to pay for load boards and you have a dispatch service who is searching on the load board for you. It does save you time and a little bit of money if you don't have to pay for the load board, right? But a good dispatch service, right? A good dispatch service will do more than that. A good dispatch service is a company that is already established. It is a company that works directly with several brokers, as well as directly with several direct customers. A good dispatch service has either only specific territories that they work in, or if it's a larger service, they may have specific dispatchers that dispatch certain territories, okay? So we're talking East Coast, we're talking South, we're talking, you know, the Midwest, we're talking the PNW, we're talking the West Coast, all of that stuff. A good dispatch service is going to charge you a percentage, not a flat rate. A good dispatch service is going to charge you a percentage. The reason for that is the more money they put into your pocket, the more money is going to go into their pocket. A flat rate dispatch service, they're going to get you whatever they can get you, and regardless, you're going to pay them $300 a week or whatever it is. So you may have a week where you make $5,000, and you may have a week where you make $3,000. For that dispatch service, so long as your wheels are turning, they're still going to get their $300. There's no incentive for them to work harder or to find you more loads, or if you have half a trailer of deck space open, there's no incentive for them to really go the extra mile for you if it is a flat rate dispatch service. A good dispatch service is, I think, a fair rate for a good dispatch service is 10%. There are car haulers that charge 7, 8, 9. I've heard, you know, whatever. It depends. It depends on how good they are, is, you know, whether or not they're worth it. A good dispatch service is worth their weight in gold. A good dispatch service should not force dispatch you anywhere you do not want to go, and they should be able to get you home when you need to be home. That should be what you get to stipulate. A good dispatch service is not going to lead you into a contract, or they will give you a trial period. This is something that you have to be able to know, am I going to be able to work with this person? Is this person going to be able to fill my trailer? Those are things you want to find out before you go and sign a contract that is for 90 days or 1 year. You know, if you can't stand the person after 2 weeks, or they don't do a very good job, you want to be able to cut the ties and just say, okay, thank you very much, but I'm going to try some other options. So those are just things, you guys, food for thought. Those are the load boards that I use. Those are the reasons why I use load boards and go after direct customers, and a little bit of food for thought as far as a dispatch service. I don't think they're evil. They are great if you find a good one that is worth it, that is not only going to save you time and money, but also going to find you higher paying loads because they have established contacts in the business and they've been running for a long time. So food for thought, you guys. I hope you guys are all well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.